Now in this lesson we're going to go back into the mostly smaller areas and darker values and integrate them with the larger mid-tone areas that we did in the previous video. But I am noticing in this upper corner here I should have darkened this part of his forehead more to match the value of his hat. I overemphasize this line, this difference in value between the bill of his hat and his skin. There is a difference, but it's so faint that I want to go in there and darken this portion. So let's do that. Taking raw umber dark, just a bit of alizarin crimson, and then a tiny bit of ultramarine blue. And let's see what we can do with this. Ultramarine blue will make that just a little less on the yellowish side, and the alizarin crimson a little more pinkish. And I just want to darken that overall. Yeah, still a little more ultramarine blue in the mix. There we go. And now it's gotten quite dark. Now I just want to blend that out. I'm going to take this lighter portion of reddish color that I mixed for a previous layer. I'm going to do a little dilution glaze if I can. Hopefully it'll let me do that. Just blend into it really quickly while it's still wet, and then fan this out using some very, very light strokes. Just feather it out. Okay, and now now we have that value more in accord with what it should be. Let's use some of this ultramarine blue on the top that's a little cooler in tone. Let's darken this top portion. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's a little too light in value. Alright, now a few things I could do. I think overall I do want to darken the values around his eye, so let's grab a slightly smaller brush. I'm going to use this nice larger round, size 10 or 12 or whatever it is. Honestly, I just can't read it on the brush, it's just too covered up with paint, but something about this size. And I'm going to use the same color that I used over here, basically maybe a little of the bluer side, and I just want to emphasize his eyebrows a little bit more. And then I want to darken just around his eyeglasses. This value really needs to get darker. So let's take some raw umber dark and alizarin crimson, and we'll just mix that on the corner of this splotch of color. And then I want to, like I say, darken right in here around his glasses. And then also around his eyes. And let's see, darken this area a little bit. Let's zoom in on this more. Darken this vertical glabellar furrow or frown line. Just a bit. It does kind of, that whole area goes up a little higher. I dab it with my finger just to soften it up. I don't want it to get too overly dark. And then this area here around his glasses, I do want to darken that whole thing. Move out of the way so you can see this better. Alright, I'm going to move down to this portion here around his jowls, underneath his chin. Just get that whole shadow a little darker. And make sure I get the right shape on the chin as it blends up inside. There's just a little divot there. I want to capture want to get this wrinkle down here, platysmal banding or vertical neck furrows, just want to get those in. I'm just using a very light stroke and just kind of dabbing the surface. Darken this other jowl line just a bit as well. And I'm going to work back up in here and just soften up a couple spots. As you're working on it, it might look a little strange at certain times. You get that mid-stage and things can often look a little bit off, but you just roll with it and keep going. Okay, we're going to darken within his mouth just a bit as well. Make it look like it's open a little more. You can go past the original line just a bit to get some gradation in there. Okay, let's go on the side here and use just a little bit of titanium white and raw sienna and raw umber dark. Thin it out, some medium, and then let's darken the bow of his glasses. If I can get this to a point well enough, using a very light stroke, just filling in that shadow. And that'll take a few layers to do it, but just initially I want to get that going on it. Also want to get the crow's feet wrinkle group, radiating outer eyelid furrows right here. Begin to get that shape within the rest of the face. And we'll start developing that. Might be better suited with a smaller brush though. So let's try that. Let's grab a smaller brush to do this. See if I can also get the other side as well. All right. I'm getting some of these wrinkles on the right hand side, and I'm just using a very, very light touch here. Just want to barely dab the surface of the canvas. Again, it's kind of that golden color, using raw umber dark and raw sienna and just a touch of burnt sienna. And just getting some of these extra wrinkles on the side, the additional cheek crease. I'm going to move over to this side here on the highlighted area, see if I can pinpoint a couple of wrinkles and just dab in just within a couple areas. You don't want to run it along the whole thing, just a couple areas. Use a very light touch. I'm going to grab a little more of this reddish color because I can see it within this area, and I'm just going to dab it in this one specific spot. And I have to get a little closer to see what I'm doing, so my head might be in the way for a moment. But that's what you want to do, is you really want to see within those wrinkles the darker areas and lighter areas. See how that's dark there, but like here that wrinkle is lighter, this area is dark, but down here it's a little lighter. You want to pinpoint those values as differences, so it's dark here, here, and up here. And if you can do that, it's going to give the wrinkles a lot more variety. That's going to suggest that certain areas are deeper than others, and that'll really intensify the three-dimensionality of the face. We have a ways to go. I'm going to go on this side here, these wrinkle lines coming from the mouth that get close to the jowls. And let's just feather them out a little bit and begin to develop some gradation. I'll just zoom in a little bit so you can really see what I'm doing. But we're just wanting to feather this out. Alright, just kind of fan it right out. Here, here. We're going to darken in one little spot and just kind of feather it out. Now you see that gradation we have going up in this portion by the nasolabial fold. Let's get a little gradation here by darkening just along the edge that touches by the highlight. Going into the mid-tone next to the highlight, we're going to darken just in that spot. Still using this kind of somewhat pinkish tone. Maybe we can add a little more raw sienna to the mix. Okay, a little more raw sienna, just so it's a little more of a goldish tone. Again, what we want to do is just feather this very, very lightly and just blur it right out. Using this small brush, it gives you a lot of control and ability to get some really good nuances. I don't want to bring that up too high because I can see just at this point it gets a little lighter. So I'm going to stop it here and kind of go in this direction and not have that glaze going up any higher than that. Okay, and then that's going to be a start to get some of that dimension in the face. It might even be just a bit too dark just in this spot. And we do need to obviously blend this out, so let's bring it out a little bit more and just get a bit of dimension on the face by letting this particular shape go past. You see where it kind of gets blurry there, the edges of it? I probably accentuated that edge a little too much, so I'm just going to lift that off. Okay, just a little bit there. And we can also get a little dimension by going to the left of this harsher line with this slightly lighter glaze. All right. Okay, we're making some progress. Let's also blur the edge of this jowl line and buccal fold there. And I'm going to stop off on this video. And the next step, we're just going to work back in the other direction, back and forth and back and forth. But anyway, this is what we have right now. Little by little, right? Hope you enjoyed this, and see if I can maybe do a video or two more for you in the session. But if not, we'll hit it hard next week in the next session as I'm recording this. So anyway, let me know if you have any questions on this so far, and thank you so much for all your comments, and really look forward to seeing your portraits. If you want to share where you're at in your progress with this, feel free to do that. I'll give you my 2 cents, help you if you have any questions on anything. But again, thank you so much, and we'll keep going. We have a ways to go on this portrait, but little by little we'll get it done. And again, I hope you enjoyed this. So God bless, and we'll see you soon.